Greetings, YouTube pipe community. Peter Piper, the True Light, coming to you from the deck at 18:48 Eastern Standard Time, minus 5 hours Greenwich Mean Time for my global subscribers. So I'm smoking my newly acquired Bulldog, having a bit of Speyside single malt with a small amount of branch water from Kentucky. And in my pipe, I am smoking Samuel Gawith Navy Flake, topped with a layer of Wilkie Surbrug 71st Street. And I like that because the Navy Flake is great, and it's a really good English blend of Latakia and Virginia, and I love the flake. The flake really smokes so mild, and it's just a little bit of a task to get it lit. But once you get it lit, you can slow your cadence down so much more as opposed to a ribbon cut tobacco, which I find smokes much hotter. Pardon me. But I'm really enjoying the Navy Flake, and it's a slow smoker. I filled this up with the two tobaccos, and I'll be here for a good hour and a half probably smoking this. My straight pot from Joe's is like usually a 20-minute, half an hour at best bowl if I'm smoking a ribbon cut tobacco. But if I smoke a flake, a really dense flake tobacco, it'll smoke for a good hour. And this combination is good because I'm not really partial to aromatics, although 71st Street is an exception. But topping off, I'd say it's like 90% Navy Flake, 10% 71st Street. And it's like you smoke, it's like on top, and you get down to the, you get that tasty, sugary, candy shop, ice cream parlor flavor, and then you get down to the real tobacco. Getting some gurgling moisture in the bowl. So, today, my wife and I went antique shopping, and we ventured into Connecticut. And we're looking for some nice wicker furniture to decorate the breezeway between the garage and the main house, because it's pretty much an empty room now, and it needs curtains. It still got an echo when you go through there. not complaining. So we went antique shopping, and we picked up a wicker stool. Um, anyway, going through the shop and looking at the stuff, it's a pretty big store, and they had a war history section, I guess you'd call it. I saw a World War One Prussian German helmet, and I saw a boxed model, complete with cellophane. You know, like a model that you would build. Um, Talking like Revell or Aurora, but this was a company I'd never heard of, and it was a German Nazi seaplane, and it had the swastika on the tail. And I said, that's kind of weird, you know. I guess back during the 60s, that wasn't such a big deal to us, or 50s or 60s, it wasn't such a big deal to sell something like that. Nowadays, it's a different story. You would never get away with that. Swastikas are not cool. Anyway, I kept going through, and finally I came up to this display of a whole bunch. They had like ammo boxes, clocks, submarine hardware, accelerometers, and stuff like that from ship equipment. And then up on this big display, they had a red Nazi vehicle flag. And this would be the kind of flag that you would put on the front two fenders of your car. And about this big by this big, big red banner, big white circle with the black swastika on it. And this was up like on display. And I said, wow, that's like, you can't do that. And they wanted $150 for it. Um, and while I was there looking at other stuff, the manager of the store, who was not the owner, was on the phone with the owner saying he had gotten multiple complaints about displaying the flag. And also, there was an armband which was still on display. And he said he had to take it down, but he actually had a buyer for it. So that came down while I was there. The armband did not. And the armband was the same format, red, white dot, black swastika. So anyway, my wife is in the process of purchasing this wicker stool, and we start to get into a conversation, and I think I started the conversation about the flag and everything like that. And I started it based on the fact that I actually used to have one of those flags because my stepfather fought in World War II. He participated in the invasion of Anzio. And after D-Day, everybody pretty much converged on France. And somewhere throughout the process, you know, these guys, the spoils of war, you tear these flags down and you take them as souvenirs. And he took a flag. It was even bigger than the one I saw today. And, you know, when I was growing up, World War II was like a really cool thing. We had shows on TV like Combat, The Rat Patrol. Uh, Geez, what else? Um, all the toys that I grew up with during the early 60s were geared toward World War II, like plastic machine guns and helmets and stuff like that. Uh, Little toy soldiers that you could set up that were made out of green plastic. Guys my age will know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, the fact that I had a Nazi flag was a really cool thing, even though it wasn't a politically correct thing. But back then, there was no such thing as PC. No. I mean, this was something that was part of history. Within the past 20 years, uh, that lived on and was still part of the culture. Certainly, with kids my age, we used to like play army and rat-a-tat-tat, at each other. And you're dead. No, you're not. I got a bulletproof vest. I shot you first. And I had one of the greatest toys during my childhood. Definitely one of the coolest toys. Next to the James Bond attaché case was G.I. Joe. He was the all-American, quintessential World War II hero. And I remember when it was marketed, the critics said boys will never play with a doll. But they proved the critics wrong. And it is like a little figure that you can play with, and there's all kinds of military hardware that goes along with them. There was a Jeep, a space capsule, all kinds of stuff. And all little miniature things like mess kits and canteens and rifles and carbines and bazookas. And it was great. Um, at any rate, back to the flag. Um, I took the flag to high school, and we had a German teacher, and I took 2 years of German in high school. Not that I'm fluent in it at any point now, but um, my German teacher was a World War II veteran, as were all our fathers, pretty much, in my generation growing up. And he had actually spent time as a POW in a German prison camp during the war. And that was always something that we always used to ask him, and his name was Herr Gardner. Um, and he was of German descent as well. Herr Gardner, tell us a story, tell us a story. We'd always be in German class and screw the studying, the German language. Tell us a story. And, oh, very well, And he would tell us stories about prison camp. And I remember one of the stories he told was of this fellow that was a fellow prisoner, and he was going to the latrine to do his business. And while anointing the potty, he had lost so much weight being in the German prison camp that his wedding ring fell off his finger into the abyss down below, which was a pit toilet where people would just shit into a pit, And if you've ever, there's another thing from my generation. If you ever used an outhouse, you know what I'm talking about. Well, anyway, he wasn't about to lose his wedding ring, so he climbed down through the hole into the abyss, and I think he lit up a match or maybe even a Zippo lighter, and the methane gas exploded, and he came out of there with singed hair and eyebrows and everything like that. Uh, and I don't think he ever did find his ring. Another story he told was about eating Blutwurst, which is blood sausage. And while he was eating it, he found a thumb, a human thumb, in the within the meat. Um, all kinds of crazy stories. A hair gardener, never forget him. At any rate, the building that the class took place in had these glass windows out onto the corridor. And I had taken the Nazi flag with me to school. And I was a junior in high school. So this was like 1973, I think. And I unfurled the flag and showed it to everybody in Herr Gardner's German class. And it wasn't my period where I was. And everybody who's in class go, "Wow, cool! Wow, wow, that's really cool." Herr Gardner was fit to be tied. He was not a happy camper. He came out into the hallway and he pointed his finger at me and he said, "Hammond, put that flag away or I'll take it from you and burn it." And it turned out that there wasn't any. He confided in me later. You know, he didn't want to take my World War II souvenir from me. And, you know, he said, you know, there are Jewish students in my class, and you have to be sensitive to that. And, yeah, okay, it was a learning lesson learned for me at the time. So that's what I kind of flashed back to today um, when I got into the conversation with this young kid who was probably late 20s, early 30s, who didn't know what the hell he was talking about when he had to take down this display. Um, and I did not engage with him, but he didn't understand why this was a part of history and not something that should be on display. And it goes along with the Confederate memorials and things like that that I think black people could relate to. It's somewhat of a slap, okay? And one of those things that I guess we have to be sensitive to a certain degree. It is a part of history, and we, we have to remember these things. We have to remember so that we don't repeat history. But anyway, that was my experience of the day. Coming up on 20 minutes, and I've been joshing long enough. Gonna relight my pipe and gonna finish this pipe and finish my scotch. So take care, folks. I hope you stuck with me this long. I appreciate that. Uh, enjoy your bowls. Speak the truth and seek enlightenment. Peter Piper, the True Light, signing off. Take care, folks.